exercise 6.6 in your text. Connect calls this problem number 2. And like so many other homework problems we've done so far this semester, we have to just wade through the accounting babble to find out what we need to do. Okay, they purchased an office building, land, and furniture for $500,000 cash. So that's how much they paid. They had the assets appraised after the purchase, or before the purchase probably, and the appraised value was as follows. The land was appraised at $180,000. The building was appraised at $300,000. The furniture was appraised at $120,000. Must be some damn nice desks. So the total was $600,000. So they got a discount. They got a deal. Instead of paying $600,000, they paid $500,000. So they got a deal. Now, what we can do, we could just say, well, we'll just say the land was $80,000. That'll make it $500,000. But that's not acceptable because the land's not worth that. We actually got a deal on each of these items. So what we have to do is we have to take the purchase price, divide it by, take the appraised value and divide it by the purchase price. Now, for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to just kill off all these zeros at the end. So instead of 180,000 over 600,000, I'm going to make it 18 over 60, 30 over 60, and 120, or 12 over 60. I'm just going to make it easy. I just killed off the 4 zeros at the end of every number. And when I do that and I reduce that fraction, 60 into 800 is 0.3. 60 into 30 is 0.5. And 60 into 12 is 0.2. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 30% of the purchase price, because I'm going to turn each one of those into a percent, simply by dropping the decimal and adding the percent sign. And that's how much I'm going to value the land, the building, and the furniture at. That's going to be the capitalized cost. That's the price that I'm going to put on the balance sheet, and the price that eventually I'm going to put down here in their silly little model. So, the appraised value of the land is $180,000. The building, $300,000. Furniture and fixtures, that's what F&F stands for, furniture and fixtures, common accounting abbreviation. The total appraised value was $600,000. The purchase price was $500,000. Now, if we do this right, at the end, this number should equal that number. Should. We'll see if we did. Coming back to here, I'm taking my percents. 30% of the 500 is how much I'm going to allocate to the cost of the land. $150. 50% of the 500 I'm going to allocate to the building, and the remaining 20% I'm going to allocate to the furniture and fixtures. So let's take a look at what I'm saying here. I paid 30% of 500,000 is how much I'm going to allocate to the land. So 30% of the purchase was for land. 50% of the purchase was for the building, and 20% of the purchase was for the furniture and fixtures. And if you add those up, they do indeed match. Our allocation was correct. That's the first part of the problem. You see, we can't just say we'll just knock off a piece, or we'll just make pretend we got something for a different price. We have to reasonably allocate the cost. And we do that based on the percentage of the original sale. This would have been 180 of 600,000 if we paid full price. That would be 30%. We bring the 30% over. And we do the same thing for the rest of the assets. Now let's play with this silly little model. Let me change my notes here for a second. Stand by. Well, we bought land. So we bought 3 things for 500,000. 150 of it was land, and that's how we're recording it. We're not saying anything about that 180. We bought this land for $150,000. The same with the building. We bought this building for $250,000. We're not thinking about the original cost or the appraised value. We paid $250,000. That's all we care about. The same with the furniture and the fixtures. Now, this really has no impact on equity. Revenue and expense doesn't figure into it. And if revenue and expense doesn't figure into it, net income doesn't. But it is a cash flow. It's an investing activity. So it's $500,000 out. And that's an investing activity. And I guess the major takeaway here is you have to just forget about the appraised values. In your mind, you have to just sort of cross them off. So what? This is the only value that we care about because we paid 5/6 of the full price. This should have been $600. We got it for $500. We got a deal. Convert 180 over 600 to 30%. 300 over 600 to get 50. 120 over 600 to get 20. And that's the number we care about. And that's the only number we record. Nowhere do we record, oh, we got a deal, this is what it was appraised at. No. This is what we allocated, this is what we recorded, this is what we paid for the asset.